welcomes you to the Alamo Bowl from the sold-out Alamo Dome. Nearly 70,000 fans on hand to watch the second meeting ever on the football field between two of the great programs in the country, the Texas Longhorns and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Chris Spielman. We'll be joined in a moment by Rob Stone. Delighted to have you with us for this marquee matchup. It's been an interesting season for each team. In the case of Texas, defending a national championship, they got off to a great start. They're getting off to a great start here, too, as they take the field before the rabid burnt orange nation. At one point, just a couple of weeks ago, Chris, though, they were 9-1, and the injury to Colt McCoy at the end of the season derailed some national championship and conference title hopes.
Well, yeah, it definitely hurt them when you lose your starting quarterback and 27 touchdowns. That does hurt your football team. But Colt McCoy has had a chance to recover from his pinched nerve. That opportunity gave him the ability to get his accuracy back and his strength back. He's something special, Sean.
Indeed he is, with 3 touchdown passes. Today he'll set the all-time NCAA freshman touchdown pass record. Meanwhile, Iowa at the start of the season had dreams of a Big Ten title. They started out in wonderful fashion, 4-0 and 5-1, but then it totally unraveled. They arrived here having lost 5 of their last 6, including the last 3. It's a team with a lot of veterans, a team determined to finish the season on a positive note.
Well, this place has energy. Their quarterback has energy in Drew Tate. Drew struggled a little bit this year, had some injury problems, but he also had a core of young wide receivers that didn't really help him. They've had a chance to grow as the season progressed. They've gotten better in bowl practice. Expect to see the best that Drew Tate has to offer tonight.
Coach Kirk Ferentz says it would be poetic justice if Tate's great career ends with a win over his home state university in his home state of Texas. Texas and Iowa, the kickoff from San Antonio, and just people here at the Alamo Bowl for their great hospitality, and we welcome in Rob Stone.
Well, these two teams, Sean, combined have lost their last 5 games, so both respective head coaches really came in taking a hard-edge approach to their bowl prep. To begin with Mac Brown, he told us, hey, we are on a business trip right now. Exhibit A, they arrived on Christmas Day and promptly practiced. 6:15 a.m., wake-up calls and early curfews. Yesterday at the luncheon, he gave Coach Ferentz some Texas spurs as a gift, and you get the sense that if Kirk Ferentz had those spurs during bowl preps, he might have been using them on his players. The sense that he's almost embarrassed by their 6-6 mark. He really took out his frustrations by cranking up bowl practices. Plenty of hitting, and a lot of players told us this was the most involved they've ever seen coach at practices and on both sides of the ball.
Lawrence, the kickoff for Texas, and here comes Anthony Bowman, the freshman, out across the 20 near the 25-yard line. He got walloped out of bounds. Texas won the toss and deferred, so Iowa will begin the game on offense, as they have done with great regularity throughout Kirk Ferentz's tenure. Every game but one this season, they've had the ball first, led by Drew Tate, senior from Baytown, Texas, about 3 hours from here. A lot of friends and family in attendance among the sellout crowd. He said many of them have never seen him play in person in college before. They open in the eye with Albert Young, the tailback. One of the best rushers in the country last year, this season hampered by a sprained knee. He slides out to the 28-yard line, and let's meet the Hawkeyes on offense.
On offense up front, we got a great mix of characters. We got a couple farmers, we got an Indian, and we got an interesting character from Chicago.
Skill position. Outside, Dougie Fresh, upcoming, Chandler, big tight, handles everything inside, and Tommy Gunn back there bulldozes everyone for the backs.
Dougie Fresh, the freshman wide receiver. Dominique Douglas out of Detroit, Michigan, leading freshman receiver in the country this season and leading Iowa with 46 receptions. They've been hurt from time to time by inexperience in that receiver corps. Scott Gary drops Young for a loss, and right on cue, the Texas defense.
They say everything is big in the state of Texas. Who's up? Big draws up. Texas front 4.
At linebacker, number 44, Rashad Bobineau. They call him the Iceman. Back to the secondary, we may not be the biggest, but we all pack a big punch and we all make big plays.
Michael Griffin playing alongside his twin brother, who's 2 minutes younger, Marcus Griffin, in the safety spots for Texas. That Longhorn defense second in the nation against the run. They drop Young for a loss back to the 23. Tate to throw for the first time. Has a first down out to the 39-yard line. It's Dougie Fresh. Dominique Douglas with his 47th catch of the season, adding to his Iowa freshman record.
Well, what's that impressive about that, Sean? He's working on a Thorpe Award winner, Aaron Ross, man-to-man, locked up. And watch Dominique first get off the jam, then work his way back to the football. Aaron Ross loses his feet. Dominique keeps his feet. Result, first down. Nice job of Drew Tate hanging in there under pressure and delivering it.
Tate's completed 58% of his passes this year. He'd been over 60 in the previous 2 years. But's been bothered by a thumb injury and an abdominal strain. Looking there for Andy Brodell, that was incomplete. Brandon Foster in coverage. Tate had thumb surgery at mid-season on his left thumb. When we visited with him yesterday, it is clearly still swollen. You can see that at the base of the thumb. He still does not have the ability to bend it, has trouble gripping and squeezing the ball.
And the other thing he had trouble with, as he told us, was handing off to his right because he has to extend the ball to his left. That should be taken care of through the rest and preparation of bowl practice.
On second down, a draw for Albert Young. And the New Jersey native out of Moorestown has 8 out to the 46-yard line, tackled by Michael Griffin.
That's the guy they got to get off early. Really a disappointing year for Albert Young, the junior, after a tremendous year last year. As you said, been hampered by a knee injury. Really not painful, but they're swelling, so that hampers his ability to make the cuts. Right there, he made a great cut.
Their leading rusher this year, 715 yards, but that's down from 1,334 last season when he led the Big Ten in rushing in conference games. Third down and 2, Iowa near midfield. Tate trying to throw for the first down, in trouble. He was able to spin away and drop it off for Tony Moyaki, the backup tight end. And it's a first down for Iowa to the Texas 46.
Yeah, that's what Drew Tate brings here. Right away, his personality shows. He's not going to be denied in pocket presence. Feels the pressure of Crowder coming from the backside. No, I'll get away from that. Moyaki stays alive in the route, doesn't quit, and goes ahead and stretches and lunges for the first down. But Drew Tate made that play happen with his feet and his presence in the pocket.
8-yard gain. And Iowa, a considerable underdog here today, on the move on the opening possession. Tate under duress from a blitz, stepped away from it, dumped it off to Tom Bush, the fullback. He paid the price, but delivered a blow at the end as well as he collided with the Griffins. Michael and Marcus. 19 more for Iowa.
Right here again, Drew Tate making people miss in the pocket, knowing where his receivers are because his eyes are downfield. And the big fella delivering the blow. And Bush. He likes it when those little DBs come after him. He's going to go ahead and put his head down and run him over.
Concerned look from Mac Brown early. The Iowa players and coaches, unanimous, the ones we spoke at, saying they had a great month of bowl practice, and they look sharp here. Albert Young inside the 5, down to the goal line. They'll mark him inside the 1.
We can start with a number of places here. First of all, the offensive line dominating up front. You can see the hole in the cutback. There was a good job by Champ Davis. Albert Young taking on Griffin, putting him on his highlight film, gave him a leg and took it away. Then the ability to lunge, and it's just short. Good call by the officials, marking that short.
And Texas needs a timeout. Players running on and off the field. They are on their heels early. Nice mix of run and pass on this opening drive engineered by Drew Tate. First and goal, Iowa. Inside the 1-yard line, looking for the first score of this Alamo Bowl. An impressive drive, 4 runs and 4 passes. A handoff to Young with the second effort into the end zone. Touchdown, Hawkeyes.
Albert Young is on a mission. Kirk Ferentz had spring camp 1 during bowl practice instead of physical presence and physical tone. Take a look from Skycam above. Albert Young running people over, running over his own guys, keeping his feet moving, never leaving the leg drive. Killebrew coming there with a shot, but it was too late because Albert's celebrating in the end zone with his teammates.
7th rushing touchdown of the season for Young. Kyle Schlicker to add the extra point. And it is good. Albert Young said coach parents during the bowl practice went back to a training camp mentality. He worked us hard. That hard work paid off on the overview of this game. They're 2-1 in the previous trips. And off to a great start here. A 9-play, 77-yard drive. Young had 5 carries. Tate was 3 out of 4. And an early surprise as Iowa has the lead. Austin Signor will kick off, the freshman from Urbandale, Iowa. Down to Quan Cosby. And he's to the 26-yard line, so that's where Texas will open on offense. After a 24-yard return by Cosby, the Longhorns led by Colt McCoy, the redshirt freshman from Tuscola, Texas, in West Texas near Abilene. Population 714. 2 touchdowns away from the NCAA single-season freshman record. David Neal of Nevada threw 29 back in 1998. McCoy injured in their second-to-last game of the regular season on the first series against Kansas State. A pinched nerve in his neck and shoulder. Did not play in the rest of that game. Played sparingly against A&M in their final game of the regular season. Charles Godfrey up from the corner to cut down Selvin Young. Here's the Texas offense.
Our offense is led by the big diesels up front. We're headed by Lyle Sinline, the CEO at center, and yours truly.
Out wide, we got our deep ball package go get a lineman sweep. Delivering that mail package, the real deal, Colt McCoy. He handed off to myself. We bruising up the middle. Catch me if you can.
It's a Texas running game that's come under some criticism in recent weeks. They ran for just 70 yards in that regular season-ending loss to Texas A&M. McCoy looking to throw on 2nd down and 11. And he's on target to Jermichael Finley, one of their tight ends. Sort of the first down. Here's the Iowa defense.
This is the Crazy Bunch from Iowa City. The defense, the fearsome foursome. We're like brothers.
We got the leader of the linebacking corps, number 27, Ed E. Muscle Miles, Bone Crusher. We got the secondary, the 4 go-getters coming to you by Lando Ed. That wraps up the Iowa defense.
And secondary bolstered by the return of Adam Shada at cornerback. He missed the last 4 games of the regular season. They also got Kenny Webama back, their best pass rusher. He missed the second half of the year after shoulder surgery. Swing pass, and they will not get the first down. Selvin Young walloped again by Adam Shada. And help from Mike Humpel.
They're also going to get help with a 15-yard penalty. Lyle Senline comes in and cleaning up the pile, and you like to see your offensive lineman be aggressive to come in and help your running back getting gang tackled.
Jay Stricker's the referee. It is a Pac-10 officiating crew.
Decline the penalty. 4th down.
I think it's a dead ball. They'll walk it off and still have to punt.
After the play, personal foul on the offense, number 62. 15-yard penalty.
Good job,
down
Sean.
to 4.
And watch Senline, the center. He's going to come from the right side and just trying to help his buddy out. And Pascal standing around a pile cleans him out. It's just a little late. You like to see that, but it's a little late. Pascal took the brunt of that hit for the big fella. He's not running that far and not hitting anybody now.
So Greg Johnson, the left footer, will punt. Transfer from Vanderbilt, where he spent 1 season and was a freshman All-American. Dominic Douglas back for Iowa, standing at his own 40-yard line. Fair catch. And Douglas made the catch with one of the Longhorns right on him, Michael Griffin. With no flag, a 45-yard punt. Iowa starts at the 37, leading 7-0. Longest run of his season to date, 26 yards to set up his 1-yard touchdown run. The only score of the game. We near the midpoint of the first quarter. Iowa on offense for the second time. Damian Sims has alternated with Young at tailback much of the year into the ball game for the start of this possession. Nice move after the catch. Andy Brodell off to the races. Look at him run. Touchdown, Iowa.
There's that myth out there, and it's about dead, and it should have been dead about 10 years ago, is that the Big Ten doesn't have any speed. Right there, you saw speed by Brodell, working on Aaron Ross, the Thorpe Award winner, the All-American corner. And not only did he force Aaron to miss him, he gained ground on him as he's running past him.
Ran away from, among others, Aaron Ross, the Jim Thorpe Award winner, is the best defensive back in the country. Kyle Schlicker adds the extra point. A stunning start to this one. Andy Brodell, the sophomore from Ankeny, Iowa, coming off a 159-yard performance in their season-ending loss of Minnesota. With the great move, 63 yards in all. He ran away from this talented Texas secondary. And we should point out, Chris, a lot of talent in that secondary, but the Longhorns are 98th in the country against the pass this season, giving up 233 pass yards per game.
Yeah, and also Gene Chizik, of course, accepted the head coaching job at Iowa State. And Dwayne Akina's calling the plays for Texas on the defensive side. And right now, they're trying to play a soft man where you saw Ross back up on his coverage, but he couldn't recover. And Brodell put a little move on him, and he was off. I mean, he was gone. I think he surprised the Texas secondary with his speed and the ability to finish.
14-0 Hawkeyes. Jordan Shipley back for the kickoff with Quan Cosby. And it'll be Cosby again from the 6. For a nice hole. Cosby across midfield to the Iowa 42. 52 yards on the return by Cosby. And great field position for Texas.
Again, to be a great return man, you got to have vision and patience. You got to be able to set up. Jog, makes the man miss, and he shows his great speed. And he's able to just get slowed down a little bit, forced to cut back in the pursuit. Got him from behind.
Cosby, an excellent return man. Brought a kickoff back against Nebraska for a touchdown. Had a punt return for a score against Sam Houston State. McCoy on the rollout, on target. First down to the 30. Jordan Shipley on the receiving end. Adam Shada had the coverage, 12 yards for Texas.
Any question about Colt McCoy's arm is answered right there. Pass was thrown with a lot of velocity, low and outside, the way you're supposed to throw an outcut, so only your man can get the ball.
McCoy and Jordan Shipley quite familiar with each other. Their dads were roommates in college at Abilene Christian. Bob McCoy, Brad McCoy rather, and Bob Shipley. Some trickery, and here's Jordan Shipley again. Got another first down, and the Longhorns wanted a late hit. They're not going to get the call. Shada the tackle. With help from Brian Madison, it goes to the 17, a pickup of 15, another first down for the Horns.
Good job to hide the ball by Colt McCoy, and Shipley right there made two guys miss. Frankly, should be in the end zone. Both Shada and Pascal ducked their heads. Hit what you see what you hit.
Jordan Shipley played for his dad, Bob, in high school. Another thing McCoy and Shipley have in common. Each played for his dad in high school football here in the state of Texas. Jamal Charles now in a tailback for the Longhorns. He gets the pitch from McCoy. And again, good work by Charles Godfrey on the corner. One of 7 Iowa players from the state of Texas. He's from Baytown, same hometown as Drew Tate. No gain on the play. Perhaps a gain of 1. That's it.
Good job of Godfrey getting off the blocks, because Charles had his big center send line out there with the ability to pull. And yet it seemed to me, it looked like it took a long time for that play to develop. Now Charles is the track guy, Sean. He can really get out and go. The pursuit of Iowa's there tonight, though. They're playing with their hair on fire tonight.
Charles, their leading rusher for the year with 805 yards. Unless he has a big afternoon, their string of 11 straight seasons with a 1,000-yard rusher will end this year. Charles got across the 15. That stood up by Mitch King. And now flags come in late. And some more extracurriculars, perhaps after the whistle.
Yeah, you have Merrick and Pascal going over to Webema saying, get it together, man. And he has been out for a while. Emotions are high and pads are cracking down on that field, buddy.
Well, some wondered if these two teams would be ready to play. Each came in on losing streaks.
After the play, personal foul on the defense, number 92. Penalties and force, half finishes for goal, automatic first down.
Well, that question's been answered. Both teams plenty excited at the start of this game. In this case, a little too excited.
Casey stuttered there, kind of pushed him off a little bit, and Webema took exception to that. Didn't want Stutter to feel like he was getting the upper hand, but you got to be able to have your composure, not cost your team valuable yards and field position.
Webema did not play in the last 3 games and was limited in a couple of games prior to that because of the shoulder that required surgery. By far their best pass rusher. They're happy to have him back. Jamal Charles to the right. With a healthy wallop from Edmund Miles and Adam Shada. Heard Miguel Merrick during his introduction to lineup talk about the muscles on Miles, and we certainly got to look at those up close when we visited with him yesterday. He is put together at 6'1", 230 pounds, a senior from Tallahassee, Florida.
Reminded me of you in the weight room today with that tight shirt on.
Second and goal. Just inside the 5. McCoy flagged down before the snap. The play did not count. Linus Swede, the intended receiver. Coming up right after this game, Matt Stafford leads the Georgia Bulldogs against Brandon Orr and number 14 Virginia Tech. The Hokies riding a 6-game winning streak. It's the Chick-fil-A Bowl on ESPN tonight, 8 Eastern time, part of Capital One Bowl Week, and also available on ESPN HD and ESPN Radio.
Well, obviously, if you're a fan of defensive football, watch that Hokie defense fly around under the leadership of Bud Foster and Frank Beamer. They'll get after it tonight.
Ball back to the 9-yard line. Iowa doesn't blitz much, but they do more often inside the red zone. Pass incomplete. Looking for Jermichael Finley.
Iowa got away with one there, Sean. The Iowa coaching staff on the sidelines before the play were trying to get a timeout. They didn't like the matchup. Colt McCoy had Linus Swede all over Marcus Pascal. Marcus Pascal is a good run defender and a decent cover guy, but you'd like to have your corners on your best wide receivers. That was a matchup that Texas liked. Now take a look at Linus Swede matched up on that. Shada down here. This is where they went to the fade last time. They didn't get it. See if they come back to it.
3rd and goal from the 9. Hawkeyes do blitz again in the red zone, and the pass way off target. Intended for Quan Cosby. And the Longhorns will have to settle for a field goal try for Coach Brown. 92-22 in his 9 years as head coach at Texas.
It's interesting the formations they've come out in. They haven't come out much 11 personnel. That's 1 back, 1 tight end. They've been out in 21 personnel. Why? Because they recommitted to the run game during their bowl practice. They want to pound people inside.
Ryan Bailey will try a field goal from about 26 yards from the right hash mark. He's a sophomore, 2nd-year walk-on. His first career kick came in mid-October at Nebraska in the final seconds to win the game with a 22-yard field goal, and he still hasn't missed. Now 5 out of 5 as a varsity kicker. Texas on the board, trailing Iowa 14-3. And I know, Chris, you and I are looking forward to being in Pasadena for the granddaddy of them all for ESPN Radio. So if you're driving around in your car, can't get in front of the television set, we hope you'll tune in to ESPN Radio for what should be a great game.
That's matched up nice, athlete for athlete. Michael Hart made the commitment to come back for next year.
Hunter Lawrence, the true freshman, place kicker with a strong leg, very highly recruited kicker, booms it into the end zone. Down by Anthony Bowman. Here's Rob Stone.
Well, Sean, we talked about that new attitude and energy of Iowa. Well, it starts from up top. Head coach Kirk Ferentz, after their opening touchdown, went right over to this dry erase board, was sitting on his heels, had a headset on, talking to nobody, but just scribbling up plays like he was working in the sandlot. Ton of energy from him and Drew Tate here on the sideline. Two things, though, to keep your guys' eyes out for. Fullback Tom Bush, right shoulder, injured it on that opening touchdown. And also Albert Young, their star running back, receiving some stretching help behind the sidelines for either his left hamstring or his right groin. Keep an eye on those two guys.
All right, it is Damian Sims in at tailback for Young, who takes the delayed handoff from Tate and gets 2, tackled by Roy Miller with help from Scott Derry. When we spoke with the Iowa players yesterday, Drew Tate said Kirk Ferentz has been more involved in practices, in every aspect of practice, than he's ever been during Tate's entire career at Iowa. He said usually he's with the offensive line and he'll participate in other parts, but he has been very hands-on in offense and defense. When we asked Kirk about it, he said, hey, we're very disappointed with the way the season's gone. In many ways, we're embarrassed. We need to get proactive to turn this around, and they have so far today.
Good recognition by Drew Tate right there, not panicking, recognizing blitz.
There's Damian Sims. No gain. Roy Miller again, the defensive tackle. Iowa picked to finish 3rd in the Big Ten preseason poll behind Ohio State and Michigan. Started very well. 5-1. They only lost to Ohio State. But then they went to Indiana, lost by 3, and that seemed to send them into a tailspin. They finished the year 1-5, including 3 straight losses to close out the regular season. The Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. As a result, they finished 2-6 in the Big Ten, their worst conference mark since Kirk Ferentz's first year. Coach Ferentz said, we didn't even show up against Northwestern and Minnesota.
You know, Sean, an interesting point you brought up with Coach Ferentz. And coaches evaluate their coaches, their players, but they also evaluate themselves. And what that tells me, what Rob reported, is he's getting more involved, saying he didn't do a good enough job, first and foremost, and he's standing up and taking responsibility and holding himself accountable for the 6-6 season.
I've never heard an Iowa coach or players talk about concerns about effort, but the coaches and the players all openly speak about what has been at least perceived by them to be a lack of intensity from time to time during the year. There's a problem with the play clock. Apparently it's resolved, and now 3rd down and 8 for Tate and the Hawkeyes. Champ Davis, a fullback, the lone back, inching closer to hear what Tate has to say. Deafening noise inside this dome. Tate fired a bullet, incomplete for Tony Moyaki, and then he got leveled. Aaron Ross, Robert Killebrew there. It was Ross who delivered the big hit.
That's it. Aaron Ross needs to make a play like that to get back involved in the ball game. Right here's a strike to Moyaki. It would have been a great catch, but one that Moyaki can make, has made, and needs to make. And Aaron Ross does a good job of breaking and seeing the quarterback on the ball and delivering a good shot. He needs to get involved in the ball game. He's back for the punt return right now.
And one of the best punt return men in the nation, has 3 career punt returns for touchdowns. That's a Texas record. Andy Fenstermaker is the punter. Second year as the starting punter. They came after him, and he just did get it off, and it's a beauty. Ross with a fair catch near the 30-yard line. A 49-yard punt by the senior Fenstermaker. Only 12 of his 52 punts this year now have been returned. He does a good job hanging them up high. Avoid a losing season, something they haven't had since 1997.
Of course, defensive coordinator Randy Shannon, now the head coach. 2 head coaches in that ball game for Miami.
I think Larry Coker is one of the great gentlemen in college football, but usually when you make the coaching change, you make the change. McCoy going deep, Looking for Lima Swede, and Charles Godfrey had the coverage. We've already hired the new coach. He's there, ready to coach. Shouldn't he coach?
I'm a believer in that, but I think under the circumstances with the service that Larry Coker has provided University of Miami, that, hey, coach, you want to coach in it, go ahead. But I think if Larry is involved, but I'm sure that he's kind of gradually turning the reins over to Randy and letting him do what he wants to do for the good of the program. And Larry Coker's that kind of guy. He's going to do what's best for the program.
Wayne Aquina, the defensive coordinator. He was called defensive coordinator through the regular season with Gene Chizik. Chizik left to become the head coach at Iowa State at the end of the regular season. So Aquina calling the defenses today, and for the first time during his time at Texas. Here's a look at the Texas defense under Gene Chizik, who was calling the defenses. He and Aquina worked together to coordinate. Sergio Kindle, the last ball carrier for Texas. He's been a linebacker this year, a freshman. We want to get a bigger back on the field, so we may see Kindle from time to time. True freshman from Dallas at 235 pounds. McCoy on third down. It's incomplete. Zach Gableman broke it up, intended for Jermichael Finley. Gableman, the starting middle linebacker today. He's in for Mike Klinkenberg, their leading tackler for the season, who's out with a foot injury. Gableman, a walk-on, fifth-year senior from Bettendorf, special teams standout. We asked Coach Ferentz, how do you think Gableman's going to do? He said, I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
So he's a fifth-year senior, as you said, Sean, and right there he did a good job not letting Finley box him out. He battled for position and was able to rank the arms of Finley so he couldn't complete the pass with a catch. Good position by Gableman. Smart football player.
Greg Johnson punts. Looked like it might have hit a Hawkeye, but they scoop it up anyway. Adam Shada in the right spot as Iowa hammered Texas 55-17.
Yeah, Chuck was something.
With the 25-second clock, operator, please shut both clocks down. Both 25-second clocks shut down, please.
The problems continue, and it might be confusing to quarterbacks. The referee, Jay Strickers, has asked that he just turn it off. Of course, that doesn't help either.
Well, in that case, what they have to do is the referee has to communicate the best he can with the quarterbacks of how much time is left. That's a tough deal for quarterbacks. Hey, Sean, just a great play by Adam Shader right there to have the awareness. The ball bounced off one of his guys. He was aware of it as he was chasing downfield blocking. Saw it, was able to secure the football for Iowa. Could have been a big play. Adam Shader, veteran, smart move, awareness.
It's been a disappointing season for Iowa, but a big part of that is injuries. They haven't wanted to use that as an excuse. It's just the reality. Shada, one of those key players, injured, and his return has had an impact already tonight. Albert Young back in the game. He gets a couple out near the 28, tackled by Michael Griffin. 1 minute to go, first quarter. Iowa with the ball in a 14-3 lead. They're in a bowl game for the 6th straight year. They've been to 4 straight January bowls. That was another goal starting out the year, to get back to a January bowl, but they weren't able to accomplish it. Miguel Merrick, the defensive back, told us we're lucky to be in any bowl the way we played this year, and this is a marquee game, the Alamo Bowl. Andy Brodell, the catch, ridden out of bounds by Aaron Ross, but it's a first down for Iowa after a 10-yard pickup.
Well, Coach Ferentz and Coach O'Keefe up in the box are sitting there saying, now wait a second. I'm looking at these All-American corner, and they're going to play soft, and they're playing zone coverage because they've been hurt against the run. We're just going to exploit that. It's just pitch and catch between Tate and Brodell, and Brodell's catching it, and he's having the ability to turn upfield. Ross is getting a slow break on the ball, allowing Brodell to get after yards without hitting him before he can turn upfield.
Wayne Aquina calling the defenses. He's not done that since the 90s when he was at the University of Arizona under Dick Tomey. Albert Young on first down, gets near the 41. Roy Miller, another tackle, sophomore from Killeen, Texas. What could be, if the Hawkeyes want it to be the last play of the quarter. And it will be as Tate is coming over to the sideline. A memorable first quarter for the Hawkeyes. They took the opening drive and marched right down the field, 77 yards on 9 plays. Sean McDonough with Chris Spielman and Rob Stone back at the Alamo Bowl, the 14th edition. Sellout crowd in the Alamo Dome. A lot of these Texas fans or folks who can't get season tickets. As soon as it was announced Texas was playing in this game, they sold 28,000 tickets in a matter of hours.